Think about your day right now, honestly. How easy is it to drop $5 without even blinking? I mean, maybe it's grabbing that daily Starbucks run on your way to work, or ordering a pricey Uber Eats instead of just cooking, or, resisting the urge to buy those shiny new Fortnite skins. It feels like absolute pocket change, right? But what if I told you that just skipping that one tiny, everyday expense and investing it instead could literally alter the entire course of your financial future? In this explainer, we're going to dive into exactly how that works. $1.6 million. Seriously, let that sink in for a second. This isn't some crazy lottery ticket or a wild Vegas gamble. The math shows that if you save just $5 a day and invest it with an average annual return of 10%, in 45 years you'd have nearly $1.6 million. It's almost hard to believe, isn't it? People are always completely amazed at how saving such a microscopic amount every day can compound and snowball into a massive fortune. But of course, the second this math gets brought up, the skeptics always come out of the woodwork. So today, we're looking at a real-world, year-long experiment that put this exact theory to the test. So here is how this financial mythbuster breaks down. First, the $5 challenge. Second, finding the right platform. Third, protecting your profits. Fourth, what to actually buy. Fifth, automating the process. And finally, the actual results 1 year later. All right, step one, the $5 challenge and facing the skeptics. Because let's be real, whenever beginners look at the math of investing tiny amounts, there is this instant, almost reflexive pushback. It just sounds way too good to be true, or honestly, just too far away to even matter. You've probably heard this one. I want to enjoy my money while I'm young. That is actually one of the top hate comments skeptics throw out when they hear about this $5 strategy. The second most common is usually, I don't want to be a millionaire when I'm old and gray. I want the money right now. And the third is always, what kind of investment actually gives me these kinds of returns over the long term? Well, these doubts are exactly why we're digging into this explainer. We are looking at a challenge designed specifically to prove that investing $5 a day absolutely does not have to feel like some massive sacrifice. And yes, it really can lead to measurable returns. Moving right along to step two, finding the right platform and setting the rules. Obviously, before you can invest a single dollar, you need a reliable platform. The specific experiment we're analyzing used an app called Trading212, but honestly, the name of the app doesn't matter nearly as much as the rules it needs to follow. There are 4 absolute non-negotiables if you want to actually succeed with microinvesting. Number 1, low fees. You cannot have your tiny $5 deposits getting eaten alive by unnecessary charges. Number 2, it has to be beginner-friendly. If it looks like a Bloomberg terminal, you're gonna quit. Number 3, security. The platform from our source experiment is protected in the UK up to £85,000 by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. You just need to make sure wherever you put your cash is fully regulated and insured in your country. And number 4, this is the real game changer, fractional shares. Think about Apple. A single share might trade around $178. That obviously doesn't work on a $5 a day budget. But with fractional shares, you get to buy a tiny little sliver of that expensive stock with your $5. Okay, step 3. Protecting your profits with the 2 accounts. This is where we go head-to-head with the dreaded taxman. It's a critical choice that so many beginners completely miss, and it literally dictates how much money you actually get to keep. Picture this. You've got $2,000. You put $1,000 into account A and $1,000 into account B. In account A, your standard general investing account, your profits aren't totally yours. The taxman steps in and takes a slice of your dividend earnings, which are those little cash rewards companies pay you just for owning their stock. Then, when you finally sell for a profit, he takes another huge slice for capital gains tax, usually around 10 to 20%. But account B? That's a tax-advantaged account. In the UK, it's called a Stocks and Shares ISA. In the US, you know it as a Roth IRA. These accounts basically have a magic invisible shield around them. Everything you make in here is yours, 100% tax-free. You should absolutely try to max out account B before you even glance at account A. But hold on, before we move forward, I've got to clear up a massive misconception. The account itself, whether it's an ISA or a Roth IRA, is literally just a box. It just sits there protecting whatever is inside it from taxes. Simply tossing money into this box does absolutely nothing. It doesn't magically grow on its own. It is not an investment. You have to manually choose what actually goes inside the box. Which brings us to step 4, what to actually buy. We have our tax-free box, we have our $5 a day. Now, we've got to fill it. Now, you might be tempted to just throw it all at Amazon, Meta, Tesla, or Nvidia. But going all in on single stocks for a daily challenge like this is super risky. If one of those companies tanks, your entire portfolio goes down with the ship. Instead, the experiment utilized an index fund. Guys, this is the ultimate cheat code for low-stress investing. An index fund holds shares from hundreds, sometimes thousands of different companies all at the exact same time. By buying just one thing, you instantly own a tiny piece of the entire market. Take the S&P 500, for example, which tracks the top publicly traded companies in the US. Get this. Historically, no one has ever lost money when they've bought and held the S&P 500 for over 20 years. Pretty wild, right? Think of your portfolio like a giant custom pie. Instead of betting your whole $5 on one massive, risky slice of a single company, an index fund takes that money and automatically chops it up into hundreds of tiny little slices. Your risk is totally spread out. For this specific challenge, the source went with an accumulating Vanguard S&P 500 index fund. Now, accumulating is the magic word here. It means any of those dividends you earn are automatically reinvested to buy even more slices of the pie, so your wealth just grows completely hands-free. Step 5. Automating the process. Let's be brutally honest for a second. Having to log into an app every single morning to manually transfer and invest $5 sounds incredibly tedious, right? That's actually where a ton of the pushback for this challenge comes from. People think it takes constant effort, but the truth is, you absolutely have to automate it. When you set up auto investing to pull that $5 every day on autopilot, you unlock a superpower called dollar cost averaging, or DCA. Look, the stock market is a roller coaster. It goes up, it drops down, it moves sideways. When the market dips and everyone else is freaking out, your automated $5 actually stretches further, buying more shares at a major discount. Then, when the market goes up, your $5 just buys fewer shares. Over time, all those ups and downs completely balance out. It removes all the stress, takes your human emotions right out of the equation, and stops you from trying to perfectly time the market. You literally set it and forget it. Finally, step 6. 1 year later, the results. We've laid down the rules, picked our tax-free box, bought the index fund, and automated the daily deposits. So, what actually happened in the real world when this was tested? This timeline perfectly maps out the psychological roller coaster of investing. In month 1, the portfolio was up a pretty modest 1.5%. But then, by month 2, it actually dropped to negative 0.5%. The account was literally sitting at a loss of 79 pence. Now, this right here, this is the exact moment where most beginners panic, declare that investing is a total scam, and pull all their money out. 2 months of effort and they're in the red. But the experiment kept the automation running. By month 6, the portfolio skyrocketed to a massive 18.2% return, and it held incredibly strong at 18.1% at the 12-month mark. But it gets better. The source continued tracking this exact account all the way up to today, and the final number is absolutely staggering, 43.8%. Just by letting the automation do its thing, 1,505 pounds of daily deposits grew into 1,972 pounds. That is a pure profit of over 576 US dollars, all from maintaining a tiny, consistent, automated daily habit that you'd probably barely even notice leaving your checking account. So, what's the big takeaway here? It all comes back to this foundational lesson: time in the market beats timing the market. If this investor had panicked back in month 2 over losing less than $1, they never would have seen a nearly 44% return. Now, obviously, past performance doesn't guarantee future results, and this past year was exceptionally strong for the market, but the core lesson absolutely stands. If you stick with a broad, diversified strategy and ride out those scary dips, the long-term compound growth can literally change your life. So I want you to look at your daily habits. Pay attention to where your cash is actually going. What will you do with your $5 today? Is it going to be just another fleeting cup of coffee? Or will it be the absolute first step toward building your fortune?